that's why pineapples can only bounce sideways.
Fair enough.
Hello and welcome to the Phil Shy podcast. I'm Peter Bell, and with me as always, the lovely, nicest man in comedy, Paddy Linton.
Hello.
Now, it was a pure mental weekend in the English Premier League.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy, but not as crazy as what happened in the Turkish League. You might not know this, but a refereeing incident occurred, and the president of one of the football teams took umbrage with this and came down from where he was sitting and battered the cunt. Just felt like he punched him, and then when he was on the ground, kicked him, and then got dragged away saying, "I've got heart condition, so..."
It's the kind of thing you see at like a junior game.
Yeah, completely.
Also, like the referee, like the picture of him in the hospital bed with a neck brace and stuff. Like he's definitely trying to get a claim in. Like, so I don't know if you've seen any stills for the punch, but like it's not even a closed fist. Like, I've took harder digs in the middle of the bounce saying, "Oh, chaos." You don't see me rolling about my fucking Ben Sherman shirt looking for a lawyer.
The guy was quite old as well. If you're getting in a neck brace with that, you know, you should just be ashamed of yourself. He's probably just trying to score some new Turkish teeth for free. That's what it is. But well, the thing is, right, a lot of people have been talking about this and saying that this is also coming from like the way people talk about referees and the disrespect they get and all that. It kind of encourages this kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And the president did say that part of the reason he did this was because of the way Peter Bell was talking about referees in the Phil Shy podcast. So I hold my hand up, I'm sorry. And she is fucking stupid. It's got nothing to do with people criticising referees. Yes. Obviously, no one should be verbally or physically assaulted, but saying a referee is shite is perfectly fine.
Aye. But it was funny. It was funny. Like, so the referee's always a bad guy. Like, so.
That's the official Phil Shy stance on this. That was funny. But anyway, so back to the Premier League. It was a crazy weekend. Like last weekend was pretty mad as well. This one was a bit more dull generally compared to last weekend, but the results were insane.
Aye. Like
completely blew the title race wide open. Relegation's now looking more interesting than it ever did before. But there's only one place to start, and that's Man United Bournemouth.
Thank fuck, man. Thank fuck Man United done that, because we're doing starting with Newcastle.
Yeah, we totally would have been.
But it's embarrassing, mate.
I know this stat's been everywhere since, but that's now Man United in the 10 years since Fergie left, lost as many games as Ferguson lost in his entire 26-year managerial.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It's wild. 10 years against 26 and they've lost as many games.
I feel sorry for him because he goes to every game. Like, he's just always in the stand. His red nose just like twitching, man.
And you could just tell that they're thinking, do you want to just go back down there?
I know, I'll just go down and talk to him at half time.
Oh no, those players, they would never react positively to the Fergie treatment.
It'd be all over fucking threads.
It'd be a wee crying, man. But who knew Bournemouth were better than Bayern Munich?
I know.
Because they'll be watching that 1-0 game from last night going fucking amateurs. That's not how you do. I know we talked about this last week about how long Ten Hag has left. And you see, for normal circumstances, you think a 3-0 home defeat against Bournemouth, that's it. Like, you're just done. Obviously, the Chelsea games probably saved them a bit.
But then Chelsea. They've been owning like... finish bottom in a Champions League group. Champions League group they should never finish bottom in.
No, they should have been competing for first. Copenhagen are qualifying over them. And I heard this stat today, it's the lowest points tally of any Premier League team in Champions League history.
That's enough.
Yeah, that's sure. When does he get sacked?
That's enough.
If he had even drawn that game against Chelsea, I think he'd be gone by now.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that 3-0 home defeat at Bournemouth, that's... How's he not his Man United?
The thing is, they were lucky it wasn't 6.
Yeah, that is the thing. That is the thing. Like, straight from the off in this game, like, you could tell what Areola's plan was, because they did that thing where they almost punted it out for a goal kick straight away. And they were just like, right, okay, we're going to, as soon as they start playing it from the back, we're just going to get in their face. And it worked. It worked.
They looked more dangerous without the ball.
Aye, 100%. Yeah. Well, excuse me, when you're Bournemouth at Man United, you have to expect to have less of the possession. But the way they did it, they were just constantly running at them, getting in their face. Every like 50-50 chance, Bournemouth won. Every time there was a contest for the ball, Bournemouth got there first. And it eventually led up to the goal where I think it's Cook Lewis Cook or Steve Cook, I can't remember because they both played for Bournemouth. I think it was Lewis, the midfielder. Blocks something, and then he's the only one that runs for the bounce of the ball.
Aye.
No one else goes anywhere. No
McTominay gave up straight away.
Amrabat just watches him run by, and he's not even that quick a player like Lewis Cook, but he looks like Kylian Mbappe because no one else is running with him, and then he just plays an easy ball in because nobody's marking Solanke.
It's funny you should mention that because there's a clip for the World Cup where Amrabat has got like Mbappe's got like 5 yards on Amrabat, and Amrabat catches up with him and takes the ball off him.
Aye.
But like for Man U, he's like, oh, fuck chasing that.
Well, he's a lone player there as well, so it's not like he's playing for his club.
Aye.
But the problem was the entire team just looked like they didn't give a fuck. And obviously there's been supposed leaks from the dressing room saying that they're not happy with how Ten Hag's doing things, that they're running too much and training, all that kind of stuff. But you think then when you go to play on the pitch, you'd be able to run. That'd be the one thing that you would get right, you know? It's like that Coach Carter thing. I don't know why I'm quoting Coach Carter, but you know, like the most important thing is like, you know, you've got the stamina to run about. That's one of the key things. And Man United just looked like they did not give a fuck about what happened in this game. And Bournemouth really, really did. They were really playing for their manager. And I think that's a really bad sign. Obviously, it's bad to lose 3-0. But if your players aren't trying for you, he can say that he hasn't lost the dressing room, but that looks like he's lost that dressing room.
Right.
Like badly. And it's also just you're at home. You've got 75,000 people that showed up to watch you. You're getting paid a fortune. Fucking run.
At least give them something.
Mate, look like you actually give a damn. But you got to say fair play to Bournemouth because they clearly had a plan that Areola had put in place, and they all just carried it out to a T. They were really, really good. And it was quite a turnaround from Bournemouth because they started the season awfully shaky. Yeah, I spoke about the changing room stuff. I mean, that's not going to get any better. That's not going away until he loses his job, probably. That's just the nature
Apparently,
of it.
like, it's his treatment of Sancho, which is like one of the biggest things, which is like turning them all against him.
Well, he's good pals with a lot of those players, not just from being a Man U player, but think about the amount of England teammates he's got in there, like Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, Rashford, who are all big influences in that dressing room.
Mate, I only realised this last week. Did you know that Harry Maguire won Player of the Month last month?
Yeah, I know.
What the fuck is happening?
And do you know what?
He's been so shy though. Like, I know that Man U would like put a few results in. Like
he was the one standout player in that shy team. Ten Hag got Manager of the Month as well. Despite the fact that Arteta got more points than him that month. I think it was just because, oh look, Man United suddenly aren't quite as shite anymore, let's give them an award.
Aye.
Then they just go and prove it was lucky, the reason that they got away with that stuff. And see Harry Maguire in this game, he did actually put a decent header on the Bournemouth goal. But see, anytime the ball's coming into him, he doesn't look like a footballer.
I know.
He looks panicked. He's just like, right, how did I do this again? He looks so unsure. Maybe that concussion's worn off and he's not a good footballer anymore.
That's right. Got a concussion. He was like world class under it, Franz Beckenbauer.
Ten Hag will just be waiting outside the change room with a shovel just to like give him another one.
Somebody dig him, man.
Yeah, that's how Ten Hag would speak.
Aye,
somebody dig that
someone dig him.
There was a brief period in the second half where Man U did look like they were creating chances and maybe going to possibly sneak a goal. But I think that lasted about 10-15 minutes and then Bournemouth were just like, nah, we're just going to take control of this again. Yeah. And then as soon as they got the second goal, that was it because they got the third pretty quick after.
Aye, straight after it. Onana made a couple of saves.
Aye.
They had one chopped half at the end.
Oh yeah, and they had the goal chopped off early as well.
Do you know the worst thing of this game, like if you're a Man United supporter, is their captain getting booked in the 90th minute when you're 3-0 down and he's out for the Liverpool game?
He did that on purpose.
I know.
He 100%.
I know. He just wants a weekend.
That's when I think he'll get sacked, but we'll get on to that. I do because I want to give. Obviously, we're just dissing Man United quite a lot here, but some of the football that Bournemouth played to get the goals, like Tavernier or Tavernier, however you want to pronounce that, put in some brilliant crosses and. Terrible defending from United, but you've got to give the credit to the guy playing the ball to take advantage of that. But there's one, I think it might be the third goal that came from the corner. Who was it that headed it in again? What was his name? He's completely unmarked anyway.
Aye, free header in the 6-yard box.
Maguire turns it out. He's just watching the ball. Complete, no awareness of where the players are, just watching the ball. And he's watching the ball as it turns round. And then there's just this massive guy that's leapt 3 foot in the air. And he's like, oh shit.
Aye, like, it's not like Anana's going to be anywhere near this anyway.
Aye, Senesi. That's who it was. It was Senesi's header. But it was just so easy for them from that corner. And the thing is, like, obviously Maguire just won Player of the Month. He's been supposedly been more of a rock at the back, but like you say, he was just awful.
Dreadful, man.
The only decent player for United in that game for me was Dallo, because he looked like the only one that actually gave a shit.
Put a shift in.
Like, he'd make runs forward, try and get a shot away, defending. He would throw himself in front of everything. So fair play to Dallo, but you're the only player in that team right now that probably deserves to be in it. Genuinely, other than McTominay. But I heard someone try and argue that although McTominay's scoring goals for them, he might technically be making them a worse team because they clearly need a double pivot, and having him in there pushing so far forward is not helping them defend.
Mate, if it wasn't for his goals, they'd be like fucking 13th in the league.
I know, but what they actually need is Amrabat and Casemiro, both in the defensive midfield positions, because they clearly don't have a foundation for that midfield. Not that might improve them, because they've not exactly been tearing up trees this season. But what do we think about the goal getting ruled out? The fourth one, not the first one.
Because it touches his horn in the build-up, but like his arms are just flailing because he's trying to keep his balance, and the ball just like bounces.
Like, it's clearly not. And I know that's the rule, and fair play if that's the rule, but he's not tried to touch the ball. He's not meant to. It's not changed the trajectory of the ball in any way, shape or form. It's not affected it.
Aye.
And
plus, what you meant to do with your arms when you're fawn? Keep them by your side and
just plank and hope for the best. That's what you're supposed to do. I mean, it was a kind of similar one in the Arsenal game where it didn't really affect anything, but the rule's a rule. I'm not saying he shouldn't have whistled for it. I just think the rule's potentially a bit harsh. But yeah, Bournemouth, the way they've turned around their season, because they started like shaky. There was a time where we were saying they might be the only team that, other than the relegated teams, that are in that relegation battle.
Aye.
And we were having a go at the board for sacking Gary O'Neill, because looking at the job he's doing at Wolves. And now
they're going to be fine.
Aye, they're definitely going to be fine. But I don't know whether this is just an upturn in form for them, or if the team's actually started to take in what Areola's been saying to them this week. It could be either. But they're playing decent. They're very hard to beat. They've got big results against good teams recently, so well done Bournemouth. I'd
find it hard to take in anything Areola was saying, just because I'd be thinking about nipples the whole time.
I think it's technically Andoni. It's like with an I. It's like Iraola or something like that. Yeah, right. It's not. It's not Areola.
I think Italian nipples.
Iraola. Okay, I'm sorry, but we have to go on to Spurs Newcastle.
Fuck off, man.
It's a really bad game for both of us, because I don't like to see Spurs happy, and obviously you're a Newcastle fan. So, what happened with this? Is this just is this sort of combination of bad away form and just sheer exhaustion?
Aye, it's like the injuries have piled up.
Aye,
and like we're bound to get like smashed off someday.
Newcastle
Spurs away would likely be the way. I know Spurs have been shite form, but they still play high intensity.
And they had Sarr and Basuma back and Romero back, so they actually had more of their first team than you did.
Romero, who should have been sent off.
We'll get to that, don't worry. But this is true, you might not know this. Newcastle, for the last 6 games, have started this same 10 outfield players in all 6 of those games, because they haven't been able to change.
Can't do that in the Champions League or Premier League.
In December they had 10 football matches to play in 30 days, and they're exactly halfway through that now.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just obviously it's going to tell. Spurs don't have European games to play as well, so their injuries obviously won't affect them as badly. They've got less games, so it was just inevitable that at some point a result like this was going to happen. And the thing is, at the start, Guimarães had a pretty good chance at just
the shot. That shot
was a lovely shot, by the way. And then who else was it? Someone else had a dig that looked.
No, Isak should have scored.
Isak, that was it, with the ball across. Yeah.
Gordon raced in behind, and then Isak was just jogging. Like, all you had to do was just put on the runners a wee bit and get away from Davies. Davies made a great block.
Yeah.
Don't
I
take
think
it
it
away
was
from him,
Davies' touch that kind of took it.
He was just fucking
You would still
jogging. He was
expect
just,
him.
sprint, mate.
Aye, you would still expect him to be able to score there.
Aye.
But after that, it was. There was a period when Spurs were 2 up that you thought, oh, Newcastle are looking a bit more like they're going to get back into this, but
Son absolutely destroyed Trippier.
Yeah, and he's 33 and he's played every game for like.
Aye.
You feel sorry for him, and Son is just rapid as well, but
And relentless as well. Like.
Aye, it was brilliant football from Son though. Like the dribble to get past Trippier and then put the ball in, and it is so typical Ange team that the person in the middle of the box to score was a fullback. Like,
did you see there was a still of like. When the ball goes into the box, the only 2 players that are in the box are Son, who's playing the ball, Udogie, and fucking Porro.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just the 2 fullbacks that are in the box.
Aye, to be fair, but I'd probably trust them in the box over Richarlison. So.
I think like this might be the thing about Spurs. Like now that like the system's sort of working in the Premier League, they might be able to get like some of the best fullbacks in the world because if you're a fullback, like you don't have to just fucking clip it up the line and like keep an eye on your man behind you. Like I want you in the penalty box. Like for all the best fullbacks in the world, they want to play for that team.
When you look at someone like Cancelo, who I think is still just out on loan from Man City, I don't think Barcelona bought him. That's the kind of team he'll want to play because he wants to score goals. He wants to be that guy. So I could see that being appealing to him. Whether City or not would let him go to Spurs, I don't know. They probably don't view them as a rival. Although this season, who knows? It's probably harsh to blame Trippier for it though, just with the amount of football he's played.
Like the defending isn't the best part of his game.
No.
What I mean?
But I mean, he has been solid at that as well.
Good, but like,
this season, undeniably, he's one of the best fullbacks in the world, in my opinion, this season. So it's harsh to blame him for it. But the more the game went on, the difference in energy level became more apparent. Like as we spoke about before, Ange teams are just so mobile.
No.
And like you just said it there, that the 2 fullbacks were in the middle of were in the box. So the people that are trying to keep track of them have to be constantly moving. That midfield is just all over the place, making runs from deep, like pushing forward. And then the wingers in this game really focused on being out wide. Son usually likes to come in and shoot, as does Kulusevski normally. But they actually just thought, no, these guys are tired, we're going to stretch the game and then create the space for the midfielders to come through. And because everyone was just constantly moving, the like shattered Newcastle players are like, they had no time to just catch.
Plus,
the breather,
you don't know what today. Like you don't know whether to go to the ball or track a runner, and there's like 2 runners. And
it was basically an impossible thing for them to do any better than that. And obviously, in their heads, they're thinking about the midweek game where they don't want to overexert themselves too much, injure themselves, and get ruled out of a potentially crucial game that could see them through to the next round of the Champions League, you know?
Yeah.
Although, I mean, if you went down to the Europa League, you'd probably stand a good chance of winning it, so it wouldn't be the worst thing happening to them. I know, I just saw your grimace there of, nah, mate, I want to stay in the Champions League.
Stay in the Champions League, man.
Obviously, you'd rather stay in the Champions League, but
we'll get smashed. Well, if we can get through,
no,
and
you
then,
wouldn't
like,
get smashed
come February, like,
you
get
probably
players
wouldn't
back.
win it, but you'd be all right. I don't think you'd get smashed.
It would help in terms of like recruitment in January if we're still in the Champions League.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think Newcastle are going to have to worry about that again for quite a while. I don't know. You're not in the Champions League. We can pay you £1 billion. That's fine. Yeah, don't care. But we'll buy you a hoodie so you stay warm in Newcastle. Spurs actually probably could have scored a few more. I know you don't like me saying
Richarlison should have scored a header.
Johnson hit the post twice as well. He's beginning to find his groove in that team because he looked really good at the weekend. The goalie, Dubravka, was forced out of a couple of saves. Richarlison missed a fucking golden chance.
For Richarlison's second goal, though, Dubravka looked dodgy as fuck.
Yeah.
So then he comes and then he stops and then he gives away a penalty.
They'll get a new goalie in. They'll get a new goalie in sooner rather than later.
De Gea.
Well, didn't he post recently? It's just like an emoji of a really cold guy.
Oh, did he?
Aye. So someone said, "Oh, that might be him hinting he wants to go back to Manchester, but
Or his boiler's broke.
or his boilers broke, or Newcastle's awfully cold this time of year.
Yeah, mate. I would
But I don't.
take him in a heartbeat, man.
Yeah, he's better than what you've got. Especially what was the carry this year?
Lewis
He's playing the night, isn't he?
So he will.
Aye.
I don't know if he's ever
You
played.
forgot about
I don't
that,
know if he's ever played in the Champions League before.
He hasn't played a single game in the Champions League since
the
that
final,
yeah.
where he gave the ball to Benzema,
The good, aye.
and then couldn't block a shot that was like right at his ribcage.
To be fair, wasn't that his debut for Liverpool?
I think
At the Champions League final. That's kind of a lot of pressure to put on someone playing their first game for your club. But the good news is Andy Brasso on the Football Ramble was saying that Milan are fucking dreadful right now.
Are they?
So that combined with the St James's Park atmosphere, you might be
Fingers
alright.
crossed.
The third goal, Pedro Porro's pass.
That was a screamer.
Richarlison, he will claim that he meant that first touch to happen that way, but he's clearly fucked it.
Fucked it. Like,
He recovered well.
Recover.
Aye, he recovered well. It was a neat finish under the goal. But
Porro run out and celebrate with Ange as well.
yeah. There was a couple other players that just joined Porro. Yeah, he's got some pass on him this season. It's not the first time we've spoke about his passing ability, but yeah, it was a great ball, and Richarlison conspired to almost fuck it up, but he did score. I think that was his first goal, or his first goal in this game was his first goal for Tottenham that wasn't with his head. So
was it?
I think so. Yeah. So well done, Richarlison. Apologies if that's wrong, but it's not like you've scored that many, to be fair.
I think I might have heard that in the commentary, actually. I was watching it while I was at work. So
I don't know if it was commentary or if it was just someone else told me that, but I'm pretty sure that's true. Then we can talk about Christian Romero's tackle.
Mate, it's
Does
like the
he
boy
hate-
wants to get set off.
Aye. Like someone said,
I think he just hates ankles.
his dad used to just ankle him when he was a kid. Or
Maybe he's
something.
got a severe phobia of ankles. There's like a spider to him. He's like,
The thing
"Fucking
is, like,
stamp that."
somebody like compared it to Ramos, but it's like Ramos was very good at doing that without getting.
Aye, Ramos would take
Send
the
it
ball
off,
and
you
then
know.
take you out.
Aye, and also he was a world class defender. He was one of the best of his generation. That is not true of Romero, but this was his first game back after a suspension, and I think he's got hasn't he been like red carded or suspended once every 17 games or something like that in his Tottenham career? It's like something mental. Like that. Somebody's got to have a word with him. Because you can't keep doing that.
They're nutter, man.
Aye.
I can't believe he never get sent off with VAR and stuff.
Aye, I know.
The game was already decided. It's not like it would have had any impact on the result of the game. So,
But still, he should be.
yeah,
because-
but if it was a closer game, like if the game finished a draw
Aye.
and he'd done that, they would be talking about that so much more.
But it's not, but I don't think, I agree with you, that's right, but I don't think that's an excuse to not talk about it.
I know, but
Because-
you know what I'm saying?
That is endangering an opponent. You could have seriously injured him, like broken his leg, like snapped his ankle, any of that, but just because it wasn't that important to the result of the game, everyone's like, oh, it doesn't matter. No, it fucking does. Romero is a cunt and a danger to other people.
He's a wank. I think he's the worst since Diego Costa. Diego
In the
Costa was
Premier
the
League.
worst.
In the Premier League, probably. I was just thinking Pepe is still playing.
Aye. Oh no, I mean in the Premier
In
League.
the Premier League, he's up there.
Pepe's
yeah.
a bad bastard. Remember that time he just like stamped out a cunt that like that won a penalty and then like dragged these studs up his back? They don't get banned for like 20 games for that. He should have got to jail.
Oh,
Duncan Ferguson getting to jail for heading somebody. Why is he not getting to jail for that?
Was that not in the street rather than on a pitch?
No, it was on the pitch against a Falkirk player.
Is that why you got jailed?
Aye, he headed a Falkirk player at Ibrox and got to jail.
I will defer to your knowledge on
My
this.
dad
because
knows
your
him.
dad was
My
in the
dad
jail.
did know. God rest his soul.
Rest in peace. But yeah, no, a bad day at the office for Newcastle. Although your Uncle Joe got a wee consolation goal.
Big Joe Linton.
Yeah, but it was a good finish.
It was a class finish,
Aye.
but it looked like he didn't even celebrate or anything.
No, he was
It
just
looked like he scored in training.
Aye,
He's just
aye.
like, boof.
He looked like he didn't even want to. He almost resented the fact that he had scored. Like, but it's good for his like stats and all that.
See, the one wee glimmer of encouragement out of that whole game, like, because I didn't expect to get into the game was the fact that the Newcastle fans stayed to applaud the team after it, because they understand there's no, and that's a good thing about Newcastle fans. They are probably the second best fans in the world, and they're always supportive of their team.
Apart from that time they had an argument with Kieran Trippier about. But apart from that,
but no many fans, especially after all the trains were cancelled, especially after the nightmare they had to watch their team getting pumped 4-1 and then stay and applaud them. I thought that was quite nice.
It was. But again, like you say, it's not that surprising. They've got Wednesday to bounce back. It's at home. Of course, they'll be even more tired, but the energy you get from a roaring fan base, you hear it from players that play in front of their home crowds like that all the time. Dortmund players, Celtic players, Newcastle players, Liverpool players, they all talk about just how much energy they can get from their fans. And on a European night, it's also, there's something about December games, evening games dark, under the lights. It's a special time to go and watch football. So hopefully they can bounce back, because I'd like to see Newcastle go through. I don't like their ownership model, but I like Newcastle fans, and the club's always been They've always seemed like a decent club. And also, how can you not love Kevin Keegan's mental breakdown? Even for that, you've still got to love Newcastle.
I love it for being them. And just if I say to you, picture a Newcastle fan at the game of the night, what do you see?
A shirtless man.
A shirtless fat bloke with a Newcastle Brown Ale logo tattooed on his belly.
Yeah, holding a pint that he's somehow managed to get past security.
Or I used to have a season ticket for Newcastle, and what you would do is you would go up with your pint. So all the people we were sitting with, they would have one steward per wee block, as you know, most football stadiums. And if 5 or 6 of you went up carrying 2 pints at a time, and the steward was new, they would just get overwhelmed, and you could just charge past them. So that's what you do. We would conspire, get in cunts you don't know, do you want to see if we can do this? And then 6 of you just charge past the steward, and if it's some 17-year-old first day at work, they're just and then you just sit there and tie your pints during the half.
What obviously not me. What some people at Celtic Park do is buy those pre-mixed cans of Jack Daniels and Coke, because you can fit them in your pocket and you never get searched. Obviously, I don't condone that behaviour, and it's definitely not me and Matt that does that. I'm just saying that is an option available to you if you do like it.
If it comes to it, I can get a hot water tonic up my arse.
That is also something that we haven't done before.
I don't mean the bottle, just pour it like enema. I'll just be slowly absorbing that.
I haven't actually done that one, I can say that with confidence. Right, we'll get this over and done with as well now. Aston Villa versus Arsenal.
Aston Villa, the best team in the league. Best team in the league this year.
They weren't the best team in this game, if we're being honest with you.
No, they weren't.
That lasted long, didn't it?
But
you got to credit them, man. They found a way to win.
Because it happened, we've not had a chance to cover it because it happened midweek last week. But beating Man City at home. But
what a performance, man.
Just beating Man City at home.
Yeah.
Smashing Man City at home.
You could tell they'd used quite a lot of energy in that football match, but...
but to dominate Man City on every stat. I
don't think I've seen a Pep team in any division get completely controlled like the way Villa did in that game.
Yeah.
So we haven't had the chance to talk about that, but... What a performance! Because we watched the tail end of it after doing this last week.
Yeah,
it was incredible. Emery, though, I'm guessing he's still fully erect after beating Arsenal.
See, at the end he was fucking screaming. But that's a different kind of win, because they were just hanging on for 80 minutes.
100%. If they hadn't got the early goal, it probably would have changed the way they played the rest of the game. But Arsenal were so wasteful in front of goal. Saka had a brilliant chance early on that it may be the worst thing I've seen Saka do on a football pitch, is when the cross comes over from Martinelli and he just absolutely sclaffs the shot. I realised I've just used one of the most...
You absolutely sclaffed that word, didn't you?
No, sclaff is sclaff is, but we used it to mean if you sclaff a shot. I
thought you were trying to say scuff.
No. Sclaff. It's certain regions of Glasgow use that word.
Sclaff?
That's if you sclaff it white.
It's
like a banana shot, when you've gone to hit it and it's just gone completely the wrong direction. My mate used to use it all the time, but then again, that could just be us because we invent a lot of words.
Sclaff.
I
like that you're wearing a jumper that says word on it. So you're the authority, and I'm
here wearing a jumper of another podcast like an absolute traitor. But no, they had that chance. Odegaard had a couple that he, like, another day he's putting both of those in. There was obviously the goal that got ruled out. So as an Arsenal fan, I'm not disappointed with the way Arsenal played. They went to probably the hardest away day in the league other than Liverpool.
No,
right now.
It is. They've won 15 in a row at home.
So gone there. They've lost 1-0, yeah, but they, on the balance of play, at the very least deserved a point and probably should have won because they created way more chances. They just didn't take them. So you couldn't really ask for much more other than better finishing. And also, we'll get on to it a bit later, but probably should have had a penalty. But we'll talk about that in a bit. The first goal, the only goal for Villa, it was really nice passing play. Like, it reminded me of like Wenger Arsenal, where it was like very nice, quick passing. And
then they just release.
Get the ball out wide, yeah. And McGinn's turn and finish was really, really smart as well.
Prime Kenny Dalglish, mate. You just put your big arse into something and then just swivel and hit it. Like,
you were around, so you would remember.
I mean, I was in my 30s.
I don't think we talk, like, obviously we're Scottish people and you would expect us to talk about John McGinn all the time, but we haven't really discussed him that much.
I know.
He's just a really good footballer, but he's kind of, to me, the sort of definition of jack of all trades, master of none. Because there's nothing that he's bad at on a football pitch. Like, you want him to defend, he can get in people's faces, press them, win the ball back. He's a good passer. He's
chips in with a lot of goals as well.
He's, especially now when he's starting to get more and more forward because they've got people like Douglas Luiz and all that covering for him. And he can dribble with it. He can score from distance, or he can get in the box and do that kind of thing. He's just a good all-round footballer.
Do you know why he does the wee goal celebration thing?
No, but I wish he didn't.
Apparently his nephew has got like bad eyes.
I shouldn't have said that then. I apologise, John.
His nephew's like you, Specky. Yeah. And he has to wear goggles while he's playing. And he gets slagged for it, and he does that to be like, that's just like a nod to his wee nephew. Nice. I think that's quite pretty sound.
It's very nice. Take that back, John. You're a lovely man. But he seems to be getting better under Emery as well.
Did you see the thing I sent you with John McGinn? Like when he was playing against Burnley, when he first came into the Premier League, and he put in a tackle on somebody, and Sean Dyche was like, shouting. He's like, oh, you've been in the league for like fucking 10 minutes. You think you're a hard man, and he told him to shut up, and then he said, you've been in this league for 6 years and you've still got the same fucking jacket. Class.
Thank you for correctly pronouncing jacket the way John McGinn would have.
You've still got the same fucking jacket.
What was I going to say? Obviously Celtic had the chance to sign him, but refused to fork out £2.7 million.
What's he worth now? 50, 60 million?
I know. £2.7 million for Aston Villa, right? That's got to be one of the best bargains they've ever had. Like, think about what he's worth now. And if he gets him into the Champions League, obviously he won't be the only reason, but he's a captain.
Yeah.
He's a main driving force in that team. If he helps him get in the Champions League, that is the best £2.7 million they'll have ever spent in their life.
He's going to have a belter this summer. He's going to lift the Euros. And then he's going to win the Champions League come August.
He's going to lift the Euros on his FIFA 24.
He's going to lift the Euros after winning the Premier League. And then he'll win a Champions League the following season.
So last week, apparently, Emery or Martinez or somebody like that said if they win against Arsenal, would they consider themselves to be title contenders? And
it was Emery that said that.
Yeah.
And it was Martinez that backed it up.
So you can actually see the confidence building in them there. I don't think they will be, because I think it will be like City, Liverpool, Arsenal in the end of the season.
I don't know about, like, because we said this about Leicester when Leicester won, like, we're like, it won't last.
You said that same logic about Tottenham earlier this season.
I'll use the same logic.
Things come back and bite you.
I'll use the same logic again.
That was a 1 in a million thing that happened, though. It's very unlikely to happen again.
Aye, but like the good thing is the title race is wide open,
100%.
Which means there's so many more interesting games, because any two out of the top 6 playing each other is a massive game now. It's got massive consequences.
And they're all beating each other.
Yep.
And that's what keeps it interesting. Normally, like City beat, other than Liverpool, everyone else in that top six.
Yep.
But now they're dropping points. Arsenal are beating teams that they've never beaten before in the top six, and then they'll drop points to someone else. And now Aston Villa's firmly a member of that top six. So, like,
considering the first day of the season, they get smashed 5-1.
Aye. Is that about years ago?
Yep.
You just had to.
I just had to. But a bad week.
you've got to credit them, man. Like, Emery's doing a fantastic job there. The board are giving him their full backing, enabling him to bring in players.
And fans are loving it, man.
Yeah, I mean that is a good stadium generally, like for atmosphere and stuff like that. They do have quite a good fan base, and because it's such a storied club, like with a good history, they've got Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues, all that kind of stuff. They've got more Premier League titles than Chelsea, lest we forget. So it is quite nice to see them doing well.
Aye.
And if they can break into that sort of the monopoly that the Big Six have had over football consistently, in the same way that Newcastle will, it'll only make the league stronger. Like, it's only going to make it a more interesting watch. Obviously, it'll make it harder for my team to win the league or to consistently get Champions League, but anything that makes the league more enjoyable to watch is always a good thing.
Just makes like an extra fixture. Do you know what I mean? It means that, like, because Aston Villa and Newcastle, before the pandemic, you would be like, even up to last season, you'd be like,
aye.
But no, Aston Villa and Newcastle is like a big game with
important
good
games,
players and consequences.
And I remember, like, when Chelsea first got bought over, originally by Roman Abramovich, and there was a third team competing for the league alongside Arsenal and Man United. And I was excited by it. And obviously we never won the league again, which was annoying, but I was dead. Well, we won it the first time, but I was dead excited about, oh my God, there's new blood in this competition. So it's only going to benefit the league. And again, got to credit Emery, he's doing a fantastic job. So well done, Unai. And like, it was just a shame that he came to Arsenal at the wrong time. It's like following Fergie at United, following Wenger at Arsenal was never going to work out for anyone. They should have picked a Diddy manager to do it in the first place.
David Moyes. It's a good manager.
How dare you?
It's a good manager. I'll take that back instantly. Do you want to talk about the penalty that you shouldn't have got? Which
it was a correct decision.
Wasn't he? Both of them are lifting a leg for the boy.
So he kicked his leg. We have seen penalties for a lot less. Put it this way, you're agreeing with Jermaine Jenas. If that doesn't prove you wrong, I don't know what does. Like,
I agree with Jermaine Jenas. I agree with everything he says.
Right, we've got that on video. We've got that on video for the next time Jermaine Jenas says something fucking ridiculous,
do you know
which will be...
Russell Brand isn't a bad guy, right? Just going for it.
I'm clipping that. I mean, he's kicked his leg. Ian Wright thinks it should be a penalty, but he is an Arsenal man, so that is. But all the other podcasts and stuff I've listened to about this have pretty much unanimously said that was a penalty.
I think, like, I can see why it would have been given, but like, I don't think it was enough of a penalty to go to VAR. I think that was a correct use of VAR.
I don't, because he's kicked his leg and taken him out, and he could have controlled the ball and scored from there. So it is a penalty. If he doesn't kick him, he's got a chance of scoring a goal. And he's kicked him. So that's
accidental.
A penalty.
He's looking at the ball.
Accidentals are relevant. This is in the rules. We know this. Right, I'm not getting into this now. You're just saying this because of that fucking penalty we should have got. No, the goal you scored against Arsenal as well. I'm not bringing that up again. Right, Everton Chelsea. Let's go to something more fun. So Chelsea are pish, aren't they?
Yep. And so are Everton.
But Chelsea had a few chances at the start of this game, but it was like Broja, who I actually thought looked quite good when he was at Southampton on loan. They just didn't score any of them, and then eventually Everton just took over.
Can't believe the amount of goals that Decore's scored.
I know.
Like,
who'd have thought that?
I know.
So I'm trying to remember, because there's quite a few players that had similar names or the same name. Did he used to play for Palace? Or was it Watford he was at?
I think he was at Palace.
Because there's also Dakota or something like that. And Diakite, there's hundreds of
they all play centre mid. They're all 6
all
foot
very
two.
similar. Like, it's so hard to remember who's exactly who. But he's been a really good player for them since he's came in.
Yeah.
But the standout for them in this game was Dwight McNeil.
Aye.
He made a lot of really good runs. He kind of like shoved defenders off the ball like so easily. He dribbled well, and when he got near the box, he either had a shot that like forced a save or was close, or he would find a teammate, and that's really important. I think when he was at Burnley, he was overrated, and they wanted way too much money for him just because he was a academy product, I think. But he's clearly a very talented guy for like the lower end of the Premier League level, so he'd be a good player for like anyone that's in the bottom half of the table, I reckon. And he had a very good game for Everton, and they deserved the win.
Aye.
And I don't know.
Well, they did, but like it was quite funny watching the highlights of it, because like before it showed you the added time get up, the last highlight was at like the 60th minute. So I think it was like a pure dull game of football.
It was
I think Everton were just time wasting after they went 1-0 up.
Oh, it was such a dull game, yeah, because when the added time was announced, Dyche was going mental.
Aye.
And then they scored at added time, which is just textbook Dyche, isn't it? I think, I can't remember, I'm trying to find this out, but Chelsea's points tally, or like games won in 2023, is like the second lowest in the league. It's like relegation form or something like that. And you're just like, how long can they keep this up without sacking Poch? Or like
maybe they need to spend some money.
Yeah, it could be. Because
they spent $1 billion.
Yeah, but there's an obvious hole that they didn't fill, which is a fucking striker.
Aye. And Kunku, if he comes back
again, he's still not an out-and-out striker, so I'm not sure he'll be the answer to that. He's a brilliant player.
I know, I was raging he went to Chelsea.
Yeah. Because I mean, well, he got injured straight away, but I can see that being the end of his career, to be honest with you. That's the Indian Premier League. That is not helpful at all.
What?
I googled 2023 points tally, and it's just giving me Indian Premier League stats, which is not. It's cricket, by the way, not football.
Circle in the crease.
I'm not sure they'd go in for that. Yeah, so Poch, what do we think of him? Is he going to get given time? Jenky needs to swap fruit. Maybe that's what's going wrong. Lemons are not working anymore. Get a bowl of peaches or kumquats or...
Kumquats, mate. You're the only guy for Paisley that's ever used that word.
I'm not going to lie, I don't really know what they are. I thought they were cherries, but somebody told me they weren't. I thought they were just a Tory name for cherries. And someone like they're like orange sized, and I was like, but there's hundreds of sizes of orange. That's not that helpful.
Have a break, have a kumquat.
Stop. This isn't the kumquat podcast. I shouldn't have mentioned them, to be honest with you. Dyche at the end talking about the celebrations, saying that was a proper celebration, no dancing, none of this stupid stuff, just enjoying yourself. Did you see it?
No.
Because Dobbin scored that volley.
Aye.
And he just went knee slid and then got piled on by his defenders, and Dyche was like, that's a proper celebration. Not none of stupid dance and stuff. And you're just, can you ever be happy, Sean?
I know.
Unless he's eating worms, you know. If you don't know the context of that, just Google it. No. I'm not going into the details of Sean Dyche being a worm-eating gruffalo. I'm still not getting a 2023 points tally. If I get that up by the end of the end of the podcast, I'll read it out to you. And in the meantime, we'll go on to maybe the biggest shock of the weekend. Fulham 5, West Ham 0. 2 in a row they've scored 5 goals in. And it wasn't that long ago we were saying their biggest problem is they haven't replaced Mitchell's goals. And then they've done it twice against what was, at the start of the season, quite a firm defence to try and break down. Mm-hmm. It's West Ham fans, so I might mention this right off the bat, singing "We're champions of Europe." You'll never sing that. You're not champions of Europe. You won the Conference League. If you win the League Cup, you're not the champions of England.
Punctuation of a...
Yeah, you got to add that. But I mean, it's so arrogant, especially when you end up losing 5 fucking nil at Fulham to the nicest home fans in all of football. They just sit there and go, isn't that a lovely day to watch a game?
Mate, they play in a cottage.
Yeah. I'm sure they either used to be, or like they were trying to build a swimming pool there as well. I don't know. Like,
were they?
I'm sure there was something mental with that. But I think they abandoned that idea.
Remember they had the statue of Michael Jackson?
Yeah, the GOAT. The goat of statues, not the goat of people, because, you know, he was... We won't go into that because of libel law, but... Oh, you can't libel the dead, or is that just in America? Anyway, we're not going to talk about it.
Let's dig into this.
Some absolutely wild tackles in this game as well. Like straight off the bat, there was like 2 insane tackles, and the referee was just like, "Well, you've had one apiece. I'll just leave that as it is."
The way it should be. The way it used to be, mate.
All right, Roy Keane.
The way it should be, mate.
There was.
Did you see the video of Roy Keane and Dynamo at the weekend?
No.
Right, so Dynamo is doing like magic for Roy Keane and Micah Richards, and Roy Keane, like you can see that he's pure into it. He's like, "Oh, that's decent." And like he goes to like all the David Copperfields and all that at Vegas and stuff. So he's into magic, which is unbelievable. Strange. Roy Keane's into it. And afterwards, like Dynamo leaves, and the presenter's like to Roy Keane, "Oh, like what did you think of that?" And he's like, he's just doing his job, isn't he? So
surprised he's into magic. He loved cards, didn't he? He loved a card. There's a brilliant video of him on another pod, and they're talking about all the red cards he had, and then one of them was when he stamped on Gareth Southgate, and he went, "Oh, he deserved it."
Aye. That was a screamer, that one. Aye, that was a screamer. And that's back when it was like fucking like a fucking half-inch aluminium tip studs, man. It wasn't these wee stupid blades. He's like, "Fuck you right in the belly."
Do you know, his justification for why he deserved it was, as a defender, you're taught never to be on your back. You know, you've got to stay on your feet. So he thought he was teaching him a lesson.
I'll teach you a lesson, mate. I'm stamping your fucking sternum.
Oh, Roy Keane. So for the first goal, Paulinho, what a ball that was.
Yep.
He's had a bit of a quiet season compared to last year. Maybe the whole Bayern thing got in his head a bit, but if he can get back to his best, that will really help Fulham perform like they did last year as well.
And fucking Jimenez scoring a header.
Yeah.
Like, thank fuck he had that wee tiny bit of material on or he's like skull would have fractured. Like, what's the point in that? Like, what is the point? Like, I got it when he used to have like a big headband thing that had a big like soft bit on it, which I got. And Petr Cech used to wear the big cap and stuff. But it's literally a shoelace that he puts on his head. Is that what's holding your skull together?
Maybe he's got a scar or something like that he's covering with it, or...
Who gives a fuck? He's still handsome.
He might be vain.
He's a handsome boy.
Well, there you go.
I'm just saying that.
Patrick says you're handsome, so you don't need to cover it up
handsome
anymore.
boy, you don't need to cover it up.
It could just be a sort of confidence thing, like... Because he's had that on his head for so long, like he just feels safer wearing it, or maybe he likes how it looks. I don't know.
He was some player before he had that hanging in his head.
Brilliant. He was absolutely lethal for Wolves back when Wolves were like at the peak of their powers when they'd just come up. So you know he was brilliant, and if he can get back to anywhere like that form, obviously he's a good few years older now, but he'd be a really important player for Fulham if he can get back to that. I mean, his goal was completely overshadowed by Wilson's, but. I mean, what a finish that was.
It's a screamer. The only goal that was better than it this weekend was McAtee's.
Yeah. Very similar goals, but McAtee's was from a harder angle.
And it was much higher than it.
Well, Wilson had a very... he's got that in his locker, because you remember when he was playing for Derby and he scored that absolute worldie of a free kick against Man United in a cup game. And it was like miles out. It was just such a good goal, and I think that like put them through to extra time or knocked Man U out or something like that. So he's got a good long dig on him. So it isn't too surprising. It's quite weird. Like they're kind of going through what Bournemouth are as well, and that they started the season a bit poor, and now they seem to have found their form. Goals were always the problem for them, though.
The Iwobi looked decent as well, man.
I know. I mean, he had a lovely air shot. In the run up to Williams' goal. Definitely not an intentional dummy. That he's had a dig there and he's fucked it.
He's like one of these players, kind of like Darwin Nunez, but not on the same level. But it's like Hunter's a pure raw talent, but just no finesse about it. Like there was like he's a pure athlete, but like he's got a terrible first touch.
He's Welbeck's kind of like that as well, in my opinion. But there was a key. When he was a young winger breaking through at Arsenal and they're playing in the Champions League, and the team sheet came out, and my mate just messaged me going, "Have you seen this?" And I was like, "Aye," and he's like, "Is that who I think it is playing centre defensive midfield?" And I went, "What, Alex Iwobi?" And he was like, "Aye." I was like, I don't know what he's doing either. I think he's just trying to confuse people at that point because Wenger had started to go a bit loopy.
Aye.
But he plays in centre mid quite a lot now, and obviously not as a defensive midfielder, but he's doing a decent job for them. I think that's his level though. I don't think he was an Arsenal level footballer.
No.
And they did very well to get as much as they did at Everton for him because I think they got like 30 odd £million, which was more than I expected to get for him, to be honest with you. And Arsenal don't sell for a lot of money ever, really. So it was quite good. And it's nice to see Willian scoring as well because his time at Arsenal was just dog shit, and he's clearly a very good footballer. Fulham looked a lot more like they did last season. If they can continue to play like that, they should be all right and comfortable. They'll never get in the top 10, I don't think, but they won't be at risk of.
They'll stay out of trouble.
Aye. West Ham, I think you see how important Alvarez is to that team.
Big time.
If they're without one of like their main defensive group, like him, Zuma, who's the other one I'm thinking of? I can't mind. Like Ogbonna maybe. If they don't, no, it's Agard.
Agard.
If they don't have even one of those three, it's like the whole thing falls apart and they just can't defend anymore. So they're going to be hoping that Alvarez is back fit as soon as possible. Let's rattle a few more of these quickly. Crystal Palace versus Liverpool.
Champions, mate. That's what champions do. Like losing 1-0.
Get a fortunate red card, and that was never a second yellow.
Mate, it was such a stupid. It was. I think could have just been booked. I think that's why the ref is giving it. But
refs never do that in any other game.
I know, but like, I think the ref was just like...
fucking, there's so many examples.
But I think the ref was just like, do you know what? I've just fucking told you, mate. I've told you.
Or they're like, well, I've heard people complain that we don't do it just after we've booked someone.
I've heard Peter Bell on the Vilshy podcast.
But it wasn't. That's not a yellow card tackle for me.
It wasn't. No.
But there was no need for it.
The first one's stupid as well, like standing in front of a free kick.
Yeah, that's
Van Dijk's clever, just hitting the ball off him. See, it frustrates the life out of me when players don't hit the ball off a player.
Aye.
See, when a player jumps in front of the rest blows his whistle, just kick it off him. That's a yellow card for that team.
It's an easy one to get as well. Alisson made a big save early on in this.
Aye.
It shows the difference that having him in goal makes to that team. Like, because last weekend you could see one or two of those goals were down to the goalie, not just not being Alisson. And then having him back in, it just makes such a huge difference. He's just a fantastic goalie. Any
team with Mo Salah in it has got a chance of winning it, regardless of how long you've got left.
Yeah, I mean, 90% of this game was fucking dreadful. Like, it was so boring. And then Salah scores, his 150th league goal and his 200th goal for Liverpool. Like, we talk about him all the time on this podcast and say how good he is, but the man's just something special. It's a shame it was a deflected goal, but I don't think he'll give a shit too much, you know.
And it wasn't a winner.
No.
But Harvey Elliott's...
What a finish that was, by the way. You can maybe say the goalie should do better, but I think the way he struck it so cleanly, it's like the power in it. I think it's harsh to blame the goalie, especially he was a sub. He's just on. But no, well done to Salah. And the fact is, if he doesn't go at the end of this season, which I think he will, he could get more and more and more, and he could end up overtaking a bunch of Premier League legends.
Yeah.
In that ranking. Oh shit! Don't kick the table, Peter. Puts Liverpool on top, as we said. But with how mental this season's gone, who knows how long that's going to fucking last. But they could just do it. And if they manage to go out and buy a centre defensive midfielder in January, that'll shore up their back line, and they could.
I think Liverpool. I think it'll be between Liverpool, Arsenal, and City.
Yeah, that's. I mean, if Arsenal are still in the race near the end of the season, I'll be very happy because those two teams look very good.
But I think just Liverpool just getting these results, see these like last minute winners against it was Fulham last week, wasn't it? And then against Palace away, which is a fucking tough game for anybody. Like that's the kind of thing that you associate with winning the league. Like, yeah,
someone else said this though, but that can get exhausting if you're having to be live and in a game for the full 95, 96, 100 minutes every game, because they're doing that a lot.
And they've always done that under Klopp, man.
I know, but it can wear you down, and they don't have the depth they used to have anymore.
Didn't they wear down Fergie teams?
No, but they weren't playing as many games, and they weren't playing 96, 98, 100 minutes or whatever. Luton City, we'll do a quick thing on them. Very close to having a wonderful result, but
it's a shame.
yeah. Foden was brilliant in this game. The defending for the Luton goal was dreadful again, but I don't know what's going on in their back line. But Bernardo Silva scored a very, very good first-time finish, as you would expect from Bernardo Silva. And, that's the other thing I want to say. Pep's assistant looks like Keegan.
I haven't seen him.
I'll get a photo. Get a photo and I'll put it in here somewhere. But he genuinely, every time like it flashes to him, I'm like, is he back? Because obviously was he manager at City once upon a time, or was he like a coach?
I think it was a manager.
He was a manager. There you go. Thank you, Paul.
Did you know? See, like he won't get near football ever again after these comments.
Yeah. And Joey Barton said the same thing. Kevin, if you're agreeing with Joey Barton, not a good look, mate. It's not a good look. And didn't he put a cigar out in someone's eye or something like that?
He done loads of mad shit.
Joey Barton's not a good man. If you don't know him, that's just a wee fact for you.
He's a wank.
Definitely not handball in the run up to Grealish's goal. It hits off Alvarez's face quite blatantly. So I think, but I mean, if I was Luton fans, I'd be asking for it as well. It's a good result for them. They're going to take away confidence from that match, going, you know what, if we can push them that hard and that far.
Aye.
And they've done that a few times. They were close with, they drew with Liverpool. They've run a few other big teams quite close. They're in games now.
They beat Palace at home, didn't they?
Yeah. They're picking up some points and they're in games now. So that'll do their confidence world good. And I'm not saying it's going to turn into them staying up, but
I think if you're a Luton fan, you just want to still have a chance of survival.
Aye.
Come the last 6 games of the season or whatever.
And I think they'll take solace in the fact that right now they've got more points than the other 2 promoted teams. They look like they're most likely to stay up of
especially
the other 2 promoted teams.
Aye.
Although Burnley looked decent at the weekend as well, but they always look decent.
The results are not decent though.
Yeah, right. Okay, we'll just do a quick run through some of these, and then we'll call it a day because we've got the Celtic game to go and watch. Sheffield United, Brentford. Sheffield fans, please don't get carried away. Brentford have had an off and on season. This is not the Chris Wilder effect. It's just Brentford having an off day.
Aye.
And Onyeka, though, for Brentford, definitely should have been sent off for that stamp.
Yeah.
The referees let a lot away this weekend.
I think that it's because of all the complaints about VAR. They're like pulling it back a wee bit. Do you know what I mean?
Aye, but when somebody stamps on someone,
yeah,
that's not the time to pull back. You know, that's the time to actually send someone off.
More stamps in a bloody post office in here.
Maybe that is time to call it. Well, another wee shout out for McAtee's goal because that was in this game.
Yeah,
it's one
goal of the weekend.
It's my favourite kind of goal to watch. That.
Like a big
bending from like the sides,
finesse shot into the far post,
curling and dipping in. There's just something very pleasing about watching it. It's a really nice goal. Wolves Forest will take a 1-1. Wolves will take a 1-1. I don't think either of them are going to be pissed off about it.
Forest, I think they'll take it more considering.
Aye, the 5-0 beforehand. Yeah. It was nice to see all the fans that are still behind Steve Cooper though, like chanting his name and all that kind of stuff. The idea of him losing his job is just ridiculous. The things he's done at that football club. So hopefully that nut job that owns him will give them a break. And Brighton Burnley, good point for Burnley. Brighton need to start winning.
Yeah,
because this sort of mixed run they're on is really not doing any good for them. And also a fun fact from match of the day from this game: Milner has never lost a Premier League match in which he scored. So there you go.
Oh, Jamesy.
Aye,
he's played in every Premier League match since 1993.
That's true. Right, before we go, you asked a trivia question last week. Can you remember what it is?
It was who has scored a goal for Newcastle United and played in goal for Manchester United?
This is going to piss you off, all of you.
And the answer is the Honey Monster for the adverts in the 90s. It's my favourite trivia. See, whenever you're in like a group of guys and they're all, or women, and they're saying for trivia facts, throw that one in, mate.
Oh, and on that wonderful note, it's time for us to go and watch the football. So it's goodbye from Pashu.
Goodbye.
It's goodbye from me. Stay fresh, cheese bags.